Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ion Energy's channel. Just want to let you guys know what we're going to be doing here. We'll be giving company updates, we'll be giving industry updates, answering anyone's questions. So if you got questions, don't be afraid to send them over to us. And we will, of course, be introducing members of the team. So who better to join us first than CEO and Director Ali Haji. Ali, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Good, good. I'm glad to have you. So let's kick it off by painting a picture of yourself. Tell us about some of your past experience and what really got you interested in this field in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent a fair bit of time in Kenya. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Nairobi in East Africa. My father's been in mining in Zambia in the Copper Belt since 1998. So a bit of that mining heritage, if you will. Went to Western, did computer science, which is way left field for somebody you would expect to end up in mining. But sort of got me interested in sort of battery metals and everything else. I've always been a scientist at heart, one that's keen to really understand how things work. As soon as I graduated, I joined Invesco as an IT asset management analyst in Toronto, worked on a number of different initiatives, ultimately spread out my mandate to be global, was put on a team to acquire or help acquire AIG's real estate business in Asia. Spent about a year and a half in Hong Kong doing so, moved back to Toronto, worked on a number of strategic initiatives, worked on Morgan Stanley Van Kampen's acquisition for Invesco. Did a number of things to help build Invesco into the brand that it is today. It used to be, as you know, a lot of satellite companies. Beyond that, I was sort of cherry-picked, if you will, to move to London, England, to co-lead a center of excellence for investment operations. So spent about 4 years there, and then moved back to Canada in 2016, early 17, at which time I joined Atma Capital Markets, so Atma Corp, as an advisor and director, as they went through the process of acquiring the Altan Saganovo asset from Centerra Gold in Mongolia. During one of those visits, I think it was my third visit to Mongolia, that it ultimately spurred me to look at lithium in country. Lithium was always sort of an interest of mine, battery metals being one of them. I looked in Mongolia, and I looked at the archives, and my chairman, Matthew Wood, and myself and Anil Varach, one of my directors, co-founded Ion Energy in August 2017.
Interesting. So you noticed that lithium was a metal that had high demand, and you felt like it was something that was just going to continue going up from here.
Kind of, yes. So I sort of saw what happened with Namaska and everybody else that went public at the time. It's been cyclical in nature. Things are moving towards an electric future, if you will. I recall my father having this mobile phone in his vehicle with a massive antenna in the back in the late 80s, early 90s. And it sort of, we've always known that we're going to move towards an unplugged future. And was that driven by primarily our sense of convenience, or was it one that really allowed us to move towards a more renewable future? And I think the latter is more true. We've now found that this shift from fossil fuels over to renewable, clean, green energy is where the world is going. The pandemic very much drove that or accelerated that, with governments around the world spending vast amount of money, prompting the adoption and essentially the incentivization of electrification. And here's where we find ourselves today.
Wonderful. So can you dive a little bit deeper into your role at Ion Energy now? Tell us what your day looks like.
Of course, I am the chief executive. My role on a day-to-day basis involves speaking with investors, speaking with our ground team, ensuring that our exploration programs are being conducted, speaking with our advisors to ensure that we're developing a very succinct exploration program. Being a junior miner, we cannot spend vast amount of time or money putting holes in the ground in an asset that's essentially 81,000 hectares. So we have to be quite calculated when we do step forward with exploration. And my time is primarily spent on updating investors, developing the program through our advisors, and ensuring the execution on the ground on a day-to-day basis.
Wonderful. So what are you most excited about where Ion Energy is going?
The exciting part of everything that we do today, or what gets me out of bed in the morning, is really the fact that we founded the company on the back of data that we saw at the Ministry of Mines that showed that brines exist, or saline brines exist beneath surface in Sukhothai province in the Gobi Desert. And the exploration, or rather the acquisition of the asset that we went after, the Babayul project, was completed in January of 2019. We started doing some stratigraphy drilling in May. We've been able to identify the multiple layers that exist beneath surface. We've been able to identify brines at different levels beneath surface as well. And that's really proven the hypothesis of what the historical drilling has shown in the region. And that excites us because we're able now to go back in, do some hydrogeological testing, pull up the brines at the different levels that they exist in, have them tested to ultimately come towards an early resource indication, and ultimately show the world that what we believed existed is actually there.
Wonderful. Well, Ali, I think you did a really good job of explaining your role at the company and your background. We touched on the company a little bit. In the next video, guys, we'll dive a little bit deeper for you. So if you have any questions, don't be afraid to send them over to us, and stay tuned. We'll get some more content to you as soon as we can. Ali, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.